disability, which makes reading, holding a book, or turning a page difficult or impossible. The content is copyrighted by the respective publishers. For more information, please visit us on the web at nfradioreading.org.
Hello, this is Gail Jackson, and for the next hour, I'll be reading from July 8th, the issue of Buffalo Criterion of the Niagara Frontier Radio Reading Service. New York State Agency wants to put more weight behind fatherhood engagement by Tanny Law Armstrong, Amsterdam News. Moms might know the best, but let's not forget about dads. At least that's how the New York State Office of Children and Family Services feels about it. So they kicked off official efforts to strengthen fatherhood in the state on June 3rd. In a recent convincing the Child Welfare Agency and many stakeholders examine how to better engage dads and other male parental figures as key child welfare solutions, all as the statewide fatherhood steering committee gets off to the ground. Empowering our dads, our bonus dads and uncles, and our coaches to feel like they have a valuable part, it is so important, said OCFS Commissioner Dr. Damala Harris Matten. Sometimes I think in society we just defer to moms, but dads have a perspective and bring a unique world view that should not be ignored. The convincing brought more than 100 child welfare and juvenile justice heads into the rooms, including Fathers Incorporated CEO Kenneth Braswell, who gave the keynote speech. Social worker Troy Grant now spearheads this initiative as the state inauguration fatherhood engagement policy advisor. He boasts a live experience as a former foster kid and is also a father himself. Grant recalled building up to the convincing through conversations and with different fatherhood organizations, which result in steering committee. They agreed to hold a convincing to hard launch the task force and generally celebrate fatherhood. That formally launched out steering committee, says Grant, and it was an event where the OCFS again made that formal and public committee to fatherhood engagement. It was just really beautiful time to connect, and there we were people who had been in the fatherhood work for decades, who hadn't seen each other in almost 10 years. A lot of the feedback we got was that it was healing to have an agency that this on and them then also being everyone together. Grant reconnected with a past father figure thanks to the event. His former football coach once housed him when he signed out of a group house after his 18th birthday day. But they lost touch later in life after the convincing footage of Grant reached his coach. We just had a really great heart-to-heart moment, says Grant. He also showed me he still has a picture of me from before I entered foster care and when I was 2 years old on his fridge. It was good for me, and it just shows how this works is really healing. Shows how this work is really healing, and we really need to support it because the data shows that across the board, when dads are involved, fathers' figures are involved, there's better outcomes for our youth, and my story is a testament to that. And improved childhood outcomes from fatherhood involvement are backed by studies, including reduced likelihood of spending time in jail and exhibiting behavioral problems. Contrary statistics show kids without present dads face significantly higher rates of poverty and depression and are more likely to drop out of high school. Harris Matten also points to growing child care investments by Governor Kathy Hochul as support for fathers playing a role in their children's lives. Noticeably, $3 billion goes towards a child care assistant program, a 40% increase, and another $500 million funds the city's new 2Care program for the next 2 years. This is so that dads understand too that there are resources for their children, says Harris Manton. Dads can become involved with the providers of the services, and dads can participate in events centered around the children and the families, as opposed to just defer ring to mom. Have the Bills done enough this off-season? By Pat Freeman, The Mighty Oba. The question each year must be asked, did the Buffalo Bills do enough this off-season? Honestly, for the first time in many years, I can't answer that question. The problem this year was decisions to fire one of the most successful coaches in Bills history. In all fairness, Joe Bradley, being the new coach, should be given a chance. But the pressure is going to be devastating for this organization to succeed. There is no getting around it because ownership felt that making the playoffs 8 to 9 years was an indication that the franchise was stuck. Most franchisers would say the team was consistent, but we are talking about Terry Pegula, the chief strategist of segregated economics here in Western New York. Let this team come out the gate slowly and struggling. You will hear how bad an error it was to fire Shane Dermott all over the airways. One thing we need to keep saying is that Joe Bradley deserves to be given a chance to show he can succeed as head coach. The person who I think will be under the most pressure at one Bills drive will be Brandon Beane, who many thinks should have been the one pushed out instead of Shane McDermott. New Stadium and Segregated Economics by Pat Freeman, The Mighty Obey. The Nashville, Tennessee Stadium deal is compatible to Western New York Stadium, and it once again gives us a learning moment. Western New York's proposed facility costs $1.4 billion as compared to the Nashville deal of $2.1 billion, mostly funded by the implications of taxes associated with the facility. What our local defenders of their deal failed to mention is that Indianapolis building of Lucas Oil Stadium, these vendors are year-round reviewed producers. The local deal only benefits the franchise owners with some residential benefits to others. The argument now is to keep the franchise here, which was one of the ultimate goals. The failure is to produce year-round revenue engine that would lessen the load on the taxpayer. The deal fails. The deal fails miserably from the aspect of the proposal, and one of the other failures will be revealed once you get past these preliminary agreements. Remember, for the first time, seat license will play a role in the revenue to produce this stadium. Also, the inclusion of the ticket fees will be used to allegedly pay for the private side of financing this facility. These are only being mentioned here and there. The problem that have the problem that I have is the failure of leadership to implement a long-term plan after the last revocation. The reason that the stadium is being postponed is an economic desert, which fails miserably to qualify this facility for year-round events. Even if you did put a roof on it, my other problem is you for accepting economic segregation, but they can tax you equally. They have been practicing this form of exclusion for so long that you only offer very little resistance because fear of what is the powerful will think of you. The others have just been caught up in being fans and are sticking your chest out all over the nation as this is your team. Well, if it was your team, then they would include you in the advertising, accredit media outlets, build stores in your community, guaranteed jobs guaranteed to women and people of color during construction and vendors. You are not even speaking up about the hiring practices of this franchise as compared to other professions franchises. Officials are bragging that this project will create 10,000 jobs, but the statement should not be made without reasonable hiring goals for women and people of color. Where is the outrage about a general blunder that is being made so you can cheer at your big screen? That is my team. You have classically conditioned yourself to believe that this is normal. It is not. The three accredited media outlets, hiring goals, player school participations, and vending must be part of the CBA agreement. And the issue of the lack of people of color in front of the office of this franchise must be also be discussed. Roswell Park, Buffalo Black Nurses team up for event. Building building on a relationship that lasts almost 10 years. Buffalo Black Nurses and Roswell Park Comprehensive Cancer Center are co-hosting in speed dating style networking even on June 24 from 5 to 6:30 p.m. in the Gaylord Carey Meeting Room at 665 Elm Street. Roswell Park has been supporting the Buffalo Black Nurses Scholarship Galley for quite some time now, and we just wanted to take the partnership a little bit further, says Rhonda Wilson, the BA, LPN, founder and president of Buffalo Black Nurses. One of the missions for Buffalo Black Nurses is leadership, so we're going to have networking even with stations focused on leadership pathways and professional development, things that will have a high impact for our members. Currently, there are about around 20 open nursing positions at Roswell Park, including both full and part-time opportunities, confirms Jewel Askey, a nursing recruiter. We are seeking passionate, committed professionals who want to grow their careers in a supportive and cooperative environment. As Roswell Park Nurses benefits from strong membership, careers, advancement, going on education, and hands on experience in oncology care, all while working alongside experts who have valued teamwork and professional development. You are listening to a reading of articles and features from the Buffalo Criterion on the Niagara Frontier Radio Reading Service. The event will feature Roswell Park speakers from various departments with, f- with information on kinds of opportunities at the National Cancer Institute Designated Center, coupled with professional networking sessions and structured like speed dating, even in events in which nurses can have quick conversations about the roles available here. The event is open to members of Buffalo Black nurses in addition to recent or soon to be college grads who are not members of the organization but Roswell Park staff members and other healthcare professionals. It's important for patients, especially those from our communities and backgrounds that have been historically underserved or overlooked, to feel understood and comfortable in a healthcare environment. That means having that diversity of the Fruit Belt neighborhood, where Roswell Park has been located for more than 100 years, represented represented in the nursing corps. It's important to have staff at Roswell Park who reflects that diversity of the communities we serve because patients often feel more comfortable and understood when they are caregivers who look like them, Askew added. Representation representation can help build trust, improve communication, and allow patients to feel their cultural experiences and perspectives are respected and understood. Events like this and the relationship that already exists between Roswell Park and Buffalo Black nurses are a way to help move the goal forward. It will always be at the forefront for Blacks and brown nurses to advocate for our patients and our families because we're all going to be patients one day, and we hopeful that this will be an absolutely wonderful event. For more information on networking events can be found on https://www.buffaloblacknurses.com. A time to remind motorists and motorists to safely share the roadways. As the weather warms and the days grow longer, motorcycle season is once again under the way across Erie County, with thousands of riders preparing to get back on the road. Now is the perfect time to remind everyone that motorcyclists safety is a shared responsibility. Motorcyclists remain a popular choice for transportation and recreation because they are affordable, fuel efficient, and enjoyable to ride. Here in Erie County, more than 21,000 registered motorcyclists take to our roads each year for commuting, touring, and leisure activities. Unfortunately, motorcycles continue to be overrepresented in serious traffic accidents. According to the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, national data reported that motorcycles represent especially 3.5% of all registered vehicles, but climbed to 15% of all fatalities in 2024. Data from the Institute for Traffic Safety and Research shows that motorcyclist injuries rose to 4,681, including 189 riders who lost their lives statewide in 2024. That is why awareness and caution from all motorists are so important. Drivers should always remain alert for motorcycles, especially when changing lanes or making turns, because motorcycles are smaller and can easily disappear into blind spots. Taking an extra moment to look twice can save lives. Maintaining a safe following distance is equally important, particularly during poor weather or low visibility conditions. The motorcyclists also play a critical role in roadway safety. Riders should always wear proper protective gear, including a DOT approved helmet, ride within their abilities, use turn signals, and avoid riding while distracted or impaired. Motorcyclist safety courses are also highly encouraged for both new and experienced riders. These programs help sharpen riders' skills and may even qualify participants for insurance discounts. Information about available courses can be found through the New York State Motorcycle Safety Program. I also want to remind riders that motorcyclist registrations expires annually on April 30th. Before heading out this season, be sure your registration is current and remember to renew local at the Erie County Auto Bureau. Proper licensing is equally important, as statistics shows that as much as 36% of fatal motorcycle crashes involve unlicensed operators. Obtaining the correct license and training is not only required by law, it can save your life. By working together and practicing safe driving habits, we can help reduce crashes, injuries, and fatalities on our roadways. Whether you are behind the wheel of a car or riding on two wheels, patience, awareness, and responsibility make all the difference. Ride smart, ride safe, and enjoy the season ahead. For more information on motorcycle licensing and registration, visit Erie County Clerk Office or call the Clerk Outreach Center at 716-858-8864. Dr. Charles R. Drew helped to organize Red Cross blood banks by Eva M. Doyle. He wrote his doctoral thesis and called it Bank Blood, a study in blood preservation. The 240-page document traced his history of blood and told how to preserve blood changes. It also described his original experience and how to organize an effective blood bank program. In June of 1940, he received his Doctor of Science in Surgery from Columbia University. After Germans bombarded Great Britain night and the day during World War II, he received a cable from his old friend John Beatty, now a director of England Royal College of Surgeons. Alzheimer's Disease and Age-Related Dementia by Ellen Grant. Though some may believe that health care for all people have advanced, Black Americans' health challenges continue. Healthcare disparities occur in the Black population for several reasons: lack of health insurance, lack of transportation, disbelief from healthcare providers regarding symptoms. Others include not having a healthcare facility within reasonable distance can contribute to inequality of healthcare. Alzheimer's and dementia, the latter often called age-related dementia, are two diseases that can impact members of our community as we do our best to help ourselves, family members as caretakers. To be clear, there is a difference between dementia and Alzheimer's. The Center for Disease Control definition of Alzheimer's disease. Alzheimer's is the most common type of dementia. It accounts for 60% to 80% of cases. Cause, as many factors play a role in causing Alzheimer's, including genetics, behaviors, and habits. Symptoms include problems with short-term memory, paying bills and preparing meals, remembering appointments, or getting lost in familiar areas. The risk is having a close relative like a parent or sibling with Alzheimer's diseases increases person's chances of developing it. Regarding dementia, the CDC states symptoms of dementia includes issues with memory, attention, communication, reasoning, judgment, and problem solving. Vision problems such as depth perception, processing visual clues, or recognizing objects. Signs that may point to dementia include getting lost in a familiar neighborhood, using unusual words to refer to familiar objects, forgetting the names of a close family member or friend, forgetting old memories, not being able to complete common tasks on your own. I contact Dr. Leonard Egel, MD, MS, of Sunny Distinguished Professional Chairman, Department of Medicine, Charles and Mary Brown Endor Chairman, President and CEO of UBMD Internal Medicine, the University at Buffalo and Jacobs School of Medicine, and Biomedical Sciences, Buffalo General Medical Center, to ask him about dementia and aging. Too many families accept memory loss as just aging, especially in our community where these diseases strike at higher rates. Alzheimer's is one specific disease. Dementia is an umbrella term. The only and only a qualified physician, geriatric or gerontologist or neurologist can tell you exactly what you're dealing with. Don't settle for a partial answer when a full diagnosis can change everything. And as you can see, Dr. Egi is well credible as a medical professional, though I have had some experience with patients who appear to have symptoms of either the dementia or Alzheimer's. I have continued to recommend that the patient seek the assistance of a physician. I am on the advisory board of the Black Women's Health Study of Boston University, the largest Black women health research study in the country. I am sharing one of this organization research study on this topic. The BWHS have fundings from the National Institute on Aging to study factors that may impact cognitive decline, changes in thinking and memory as one age. The BWHS participants, for reasons they are not well understood, studies suggest that older Black women are more likely to have cognitive impairment and a higher risk of dementia than other white women in the U.S. The BWHS is conducting a five-year to measure cognitive annual and understand factors associated with changes in over time. Recruitment for this study is completed with 2,500 BWHS participants now being contacted for a second of the 5 planted cognitive interviews. The annual cognitive interview data, together with BWHS questionnaires sent every 2 years, since 1995, and biomarkers measured in blood samples will be used to identify factors that may influence aging. This information will help to guide future prevention and treatment programs aimed specifically at improving Black women's cognitive health. I am a participant in this study. Suggestions for this reduction of Alzheimer's and related dementia include educating professionals who treat all patients coming for care with the proper respect they deserve, improve neighborhoods with the elimination of population and other environmental hazards to assure environmental justice is another. My hope is also that more participants will volunteer to participate in studies about dementia and age-related diseases. For local information and assistance, please reach out to the Western New York chapter of Alzheimer's Association. Serves as 8 counties of Western New York: Allegheny, Cattaraugus, Erie, Genesee, Niagara, Olean, and Wyoming, with education programs, supports groups, and other resources for those living in dementia and their care partners. Supporting diversity, equity, and inclusion is a vital to our mission. And we are dedicated to assisting underserved and underrepresented population who are disproportionately affected by Alzheimer's disease and dementia. We are located at 6400 Sheridan Drive, Suite 320, Amherst, New York. Our office is open by appointments only. You can reach us at 716-626-0600, extension 312, or by email or program westernnewyork@alz.org. For immediate help, call our 24-hour helpline at 800-272-3900. I'll close with this passage by one of our national leaders no longer with us. 1996 in Chicago at a press conference before his speech at the second convention of the Medical Corporation for Human Rights, Martin Luther King Jr. said in part, "We are concerned about constant use of federal funds to support this most notorious expression of segregation of all the forms of inequity, injustice, and health, and the most shocking and the most inhuman because it often results in physical death. Let us continue to support equal health and me all the forms. Let us continue to support equal health and me all the forms of inequity, injustice, and health, and the most shocking and most inhuman because it often results in physical death. Let us continue to support equal health and me health for all." The power of eating season. Why foods like mango matter for our health, our wallets, and our heritage. By Sue Sims. As the weather warms and the days stretch a little longer, nature begins offering some of its sweetest gifts. Among them is mango, vibrant, juicy, and packed with nutrients. Mangoes have a long been part of our cultural story, connecting us to Caribbean, Southern Africa, and Latin food and traditions. Excuse me. But beyond their cultural reasoning, mangoes remind us of something similar and powerful. Eating seasonal food is one of the easiest ways to nourish our bodies, support our communities, and stretch our food dollars. Seasonal eating is not a trend, it's a return to what our grandparents and great-grandparents understood instinctively. Before supermarkets carried everything year-round, families relied on what the land provided each season. The rhythm, spring greens, summer fruits, and fall roots help shape the dishes we still love today. When we choose seasons all foods now, we tap back into that wisdom. Take mangoes, which reach their peak in the late spring and summer. When they're in season, they're sweeter, juicier, and more affordable. A ripe mango delivers a powerhouse of vitamin A and C, fiber and antioxidants, and support immune health, skin glow, and digestion. For communities disproportionately affected by hypertension, diabetes, and heart disease, seasonal fruits like mango offer a natural, low sodium, nutrient dense option that fits beautifully into a balanced diet. But the benefits go beyond nutrition. Seasonal fruits are often less expensive because they're abundant and don't require long distance shipping. That means families can enjoy fresher produce without stretching their budgets. In many neighborhoods where access to fresh food is limited, seasonal produce sales at local and farmers markets, mobile vendors, and community gardens can make a real difference. A bag of in each season fruit can cost less than processed snacks and nourish far more. Eating seasonally also strengthens communities. Neighborhoods are reclaiming traditions of gardening, farmers markets, and cooperative buying. When we choose seasonal products, we support local growers, urban farmers, and small businesses working to bring healthier options into our communities. It is quite but powerful form of economic empowerment. And let's not forget the joy. Mangoes bring sunshine to the table. Blended into smoothies, tossed into salads, folded into salsas, or eaten simply by themselves. Seasonal foods invited creativity and connection. These encourage us to cook together, share recipes, and pass down traditions. As mango season arrives, consider making seasonal eating part of your routine. Start small. Pick one fruit or vegetable each month that is at its peak. Explore new recipes. Visit a local farmer's market. Bring your children or your grandchildren into the kitchen and let them taste the difference that freshness makes. Here's a very simple mango salsa recipe that I use a lot. Serve it with meat as well as fish. It is also delicious on its own in a salad or with tortilla chips. And don't forget, a ripened mango can be an excellent dessert alternative to a cake, pie, or ice cream. Mango salsa. You get two ripe mangoes, peeled, pitted, and diced. A half a red bell pepper, finely diced. 1/4 red onion, finely diced. One chipotle, remove the seed and finely dice. Add to taste. A jalapeno, that's a jalapeno. One lime juice. 1/4 bunch of cilantro, stem removed and chopped. Salt to taste, optional. In a medium bowl, mix all ingredients together. Adjust seasoning as desired and let it sit for 15 to 20 minutes for flavors to develop. Serve room temperature and enjoy. Teens and the dangers of e-cigarettes and vamping towards a better life by Eva M. Doyle. While most people are concentrated on the legislation of marijuana use, there is another danger for teenagers in this country. News reports recently noted that over 1.3 million teens start vamping in 2018. The columnist called attention to this in one of my articles on health. Officials have expressed alarm at this increase in vamping among teens. They are vamping in the record numbers. The danger is the almost of nicotine and other chemicals that are taken into their system. Even students as young as those in the eighth grade are using these devices. The Center of Disease Control and Prevention defined electronic cigarettes to include vamping pipes, cigars, and other objects that are used for smoking. Students are attached to these products by their own colors and candy-like smells. A recent Spectrum News report stated that vamping is more appealing to teens. Researchers at Roswell Comprehensive Cancer Center and some schools have collected over 2,000 vampers that have sparked concerns. This is equivalent to the same amount of nicotine in cigarettes, according to the report. You can read the report entitled Researchers Working to Unmask the Vamping Appeal to Teens. It was published on June 2nd, 2026 at 8:29 a.m. Parents, teachers, and general communities should be concerned about this and what steps to take to keep our young people safe and focused on learning. With all of the problems we have in our schools, now we don't need this. Vamping has produced an epidemic of nicotine addiction. Health officials have also pointed to the fact that African Americans are more affected by nicotine products. Nicotine can harm the development of the adolescent's brain. The brain keeps developing until the age of 25. Nicotine in adolescence can harm the parts of the brain that control attention, learning, mood, and impulse control. This is something that educators must take in consideration in assessing the achievement of students. It is not only the cause of problem with learning, but it can be one of the causes. More research certainly needs to be conducted. However, in the meantime, schools and parents must find ways to cure vamping among middle school and high school students. Vamping can also increase the risk of future addictions to other drugs. The news reports have been reporting this problem almost on a daily basis. The first place to begin is with the education of parents and the general community about this growing problem. Churches must also get involved. The key to solving any crisis is to first inform those that are impacted by the issue. Next is doing the reading and research on the issue and then coming up with a solution. Hopefully, this article will provide some incentive for this kind of work. Ride for Roswell breaks new fundraising record, 6.3 million. Buffalo, New York. Thousands of riders, volunteers, survivors, patients, and supporters gather at the University at Buffalo North Campus on June 26th and 27th for the 31st Ride for Roswell presented by West Herd Automobile Group. Together, the RIDE community raised $6.3 million to support cancer research, clinical trials, and patient care programs at Roswell Park Comprehensive Cancer Center. Since the event began in 1996, Ride for Roswell participants have raised nearly $93 million in the mission to end cancer. More than 6,000 riders, 1,000 volunteers, and nearly 700 team participants in this year's event, which featured 9 cycling routes ranging from 4 to 100 miles, including a route through Niagara Falls State Park. The weekend began with celebration of hope on Friday evening, where members of the RIDE community came together to honor cancer survivors, remember loved ones lost to their disease, and celebrating the collective impact on the people working towards a future without cancer. This year's torch was lit by three-time cancer survivor Eva Horber. Watch the video that played during celebration of hope here. Ride for Roswell is a powerful reminder of what is possible when a community comes together around and share purpose, says Andrea Gregory, Ride for Roswell director. Every mile written, every dollar raised, and every story shared helps move us closer to a future without cancer. We are incredibly grateful to everyone who made this year's event possible. Proceeds from the Ride for Roswell support life-saving work taking place at Roswell Park, including cancer research, invocation, clinical trials, and programs that improve the quality of life for patients and families. Because of the dedication of the RIDE community, Roswell Park researchers and clinicals are able to continue pursuing the breakthroughs that patients need the most, says Dr. Candace Johnson. She's the president and CEO of Roswell Park Comprehensive Cancer Center. These funds help accelerate discoveries, expand treatment options, and support the people who turn to Roswell Park for help. This year's ride also marked another important step towards the ride community's newest milestone, raising $100 million in lifetime fundraising by Ride for Roswell 2027. Bryant Floral's lawsuit versus the NFL is about more than 32 jobs by Pat Freeman, The Mighty Obey. The Bryant Floral's lawsuit is about more than just 32 jobs. It's about how this league manipulates the athletes into bad CBA agreements, how this league ignores the physical repercussions involved at playing at a level into mandatory. Thursday night games for the entire season. This league also deceived its players by not disclosing all their incoming review streams, which includes online gambling, in which players are not reaping a fair share of this latest renewed review stream revenue stream. This lawsuit also includes the allegation of one owner attempting to bribe Bryant Flores into tanking games, which could trigger a chance of ownership of the Miami franchise to save the credibility of the league. These 32 owners have carefully spun a web of manipulation across most political representatives by contributing across the board to maintain their operation as a 501c6 institution while taking advantage of manipulations across this nation. The league has also determined the beneficiaries of coverage of the league despite appealing to be thankful for all press coverage. But little is ever said of the bias of related sponsorship rarely trickles down to media outlets of color. The outlets that do benefit, especially in Western New York, very rarely invites the four credentials, media members of color for any extra broadcast work during the season. And this is why I say this lawsuit is about more than just 32 jobs. It must open the doors to a full examination of an institution that practices segregated economics, only allowing the current athlete to feel comprehensive, while the former players suffered through various alignments that would make you wonder how the sport is the most popular in the country. More recently, the closed-door negotiations for a new stadium here in Western New York are ending, but rest assured, this is where the challenges will kick in to see if the market will continue to have an NFL franchise. This deal, I think, falls noticeably short in what the NFL owners would like to see as a minimum contribution to a league that is based on equal shares of revenue. The professional teams lags every other market as the lowest producing revenue franchise out of the 32. But the difference is made up by tax subsides that will be hidden in the agreement, so most of you will never understand how much you are already contributing to a billionaire's profit margin. Bills announce Week 5 Girls Flag Football Coaches of the Week. The Buffalo Bills have announced the Week 5 High School Girls Flag Football Coaches of the Week, aimed at highlighting varsity girls flag football coaches' efforts on and off the field. Coaches from the Buffalo, Rochester, and Syracuse regions will be honored over 7 weeks and receive $1,000 for their teams. Each region coach of the week will be eligible to be selected for the coach of the year. Buffalo Region Section VI Coach of the Week. Kenmore head coach Dan Hammond was named the Buffalo Region Coach of the Week for the week ending Sunday, May 10th. In his second season as a head coach, Hannon has recorded a 22-6 overall record, including division championship in 2025. With a solid foundation set in year one, we continue to build brick by brick each day through hard work, says Hammond. We maintain a high standard of character and effort to create a full, welcoming environment for girls to be the best version of themselves, the best version of themselves, both on and off the field. Each year, the team hosts a free clinic for girls in a district to raise interest in flag football. And this year, the girls also help with the district's wellness event, teaching bike safety in the community. Kenmore has recorded an 8-3 overall record in 2026, including a 5-2 mark in Division I play. Rochester Region Section V Coach of the Week. Padilla head coach Dennis Thompson named the Rochester Region Coach of the Week for the week ending in Sunday, May 10th. Thomas has served as a coach for 9 years. He began coaching for the GR8 Elite Ducks Little League organization in Buffalo and has gone on to serve as varsity tackle football team co-head coach and defensive coordinator at Bishop Courtney. He then started the varsity boys football program at Rochester Prep, where he also started the girls flag program. At Patella, he coaches football and girls basketball. Coach Thomas is highly deserving a Coach of the Week recognition, says Patella Athletic Director Robert Thomas. In just this second year with the program, he has transformed it by building from a bottom up and establishing a culture center on hard work, accountability, and family. Added Dennis Thomas, nothing happens with our commitment, consistency, and courage. I choose coaching to help create better people for our future. There are many life lessons that can be learned in sport in one game, one practice, or one season that would take most lifetime to learn. As a teacher, I believe sports allow leaders to reach those who would not normally be within reach. After notching 2-6 regular season record in its inaugural season in 2025, Padilla has raced to an 8-3-1 overall record this season and is currently seated 5th in Section V Class B. Bulldogs have recorded 6 shutouts. Syracuse Regent Section 3 Coach of the Week. Center Square Head Coach Dan Cicchino. I'm sorry. It said SCICCHITANTO was named the Syracuse Regional Coach of the Week for the week ending in Sunday, May 10th. Currently in his second season as head coach, offensive coordinator for the girls flag football program at Center Square. Dan guided the Red Hawks to the Section 3B Class B sectional title in 2025. The season Central Square began its season losing its first 4 games, but has rebounded by winning 8 of its last 10 games, including 3 consecutive shutouts. In doing so, Central Square avenged 2 early season loses against East Syracuse, Minnow, and Fairfield Manlis. One of my greatest thrills is watching plays we worked on in practice lead to winning some close games, says Stan. When the opportunities to start this program became available, I jumped in. The opportunity to pass the sport of football to a new group of young athletes is amazing. In addition to girls flag football, Dan is the offense coordinator for the tackle football team at Central Square. He's also coached girls basketball, track, and wrestling at multiple levels. The Red Hawks are also involved in the community and have participated in United basketball event, read books to elementary schools in the district, and introduced others in the community to the sports at a family fun night. You've been listening to a reading of articles and features from the July 8th issue of the Buffalo Criterion. We read from the Buffalo Criterion every Friday at 7 p.m. Your reader has been Gail Jackson. Thank you for listening.
Coming up next on the Niagara Frontier Radio Reading Service, we have the New York Times. At 9 o'clock, Discover Magazine, and at 10 o'clock is episode number 15 of Never Flinch by Stephen King. Stay with us for these readings and more. Radio Reading mails out a large print program schedule to our listeners every other month. If you have not received a Niagara Frontier Radio Reading Service large print program schedule in the mail, please call us at 716-821-5555. We will make sure that you receive one every other month. A Braille version of the schedule is also available upon request. Our number again is 716-821-5555.
next hour, I'll be reading from